И всем привет, ребят, с вами как всегда Крипер, и сегодня мы поиграем в игру под названием Stanle, паребл, ультра Deluxe. И вот. Что ж, давайте начинать. Подожди. Что? Вот видите, это компьютер, и когда я навожу, вот что происходит. Офигеть. Ну, давай начать игру. Я думаю, это реально будет ультра Deluxe.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-eating, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Бегать можем? Подожди. Ой. Подожди. Я не хочу сейчас это делать. Я пока без рамки буду, но следующее видео ставлю с рамкой. У меня, я знаю, тут есть русский язык. Номер субтитров. Что есть фото субтитров. Показывать прицел. А почему? Там же есть озвучка. Ладно. Давай пока смотримся.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Он пропустил напоминание о чем-то. Я не успел. А где он? Смотри, я сейчас нажимаю Е, у меня просто издаются звуки. Что это?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
А какая левая, какая правая? Пустите меня. Вот дверь говорная.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
А что если нет? Я буду стоять тут. О, кстати, я сейчас нажимаю.
There was nothing here, no choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
О, могу приседать.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Стэнли пошел вниз, чтобы увидеть что-то. О, спрячусь. Понял. Понял.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange, this can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too, surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Я сплю.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Наступила темнота. Я ничего не трогал. Я сейчас ничего не трогаю.
This is the
Это
story
история
of a
женщины
woman
по
named
имени
Mariella.
Мариэлла.
Mariella woke up on a
Мариэлла
day
проснулась
like any
самым
other.
обычным утром.
She arose,
Она
got
встала,
dressed,
оделась,
gathered her
собралась и
belongings,
пошла на
and
работу.
walked to her place of work. But on this particular day,
Но в
her
этот день
walk
её
was
прогулку
interrupted by
прервал
the
мужчина,
body of a
который шел
man
по
who
городу,
had stumbled through town
разговаривал
talking
сам
and
с собой и
screaming to
крича.
himself, and then
Потом
collapsed dead
замертво
on the
упал на
sidewalk.
тротуар.
And although she would soon
Она
turn
уже
to go
собиралась
call for
позвать
an
на
ambulance,
помощь.
for just a
Но
few
нисколько
brief
он доверия не
moments,
мог
she considered the strange man.
от незнакомца.
He was obviously crazy.
Он был
This much she
сумасшедшим.
knew.
Это она знала
Everyone
точно.
knows
Все
what crazy
знают, как
people look
выглядят
like.
сумасшедшие.
And in that moment, she
И тогда
thought
ты
to
подумала,
herself how
как ей
lucky she
повезло, что она
was to be
нормальная.
normal. I am
Я
sane.
в своем
I
уме. Я
am in
контролирую
control
свой
of my
разум. Я
mind.
знаю, что реально
I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to
Мысль
think this,
успокаивала.
and in a
И
certain
этот
way,
странный
seeing this
человек
man made her
в
feel
каком-то
better.
роде
But then she
ушел.
remembered the meeting she
Потом она
had
вспомнила,
scheduled
что
for
на
that
сегодня у
day.
нее была
The
назначена
very
встреча.
important people
С очень
whose
важными
impressions
людьми,
of
и
her
он
would
их
affect
видя
her
у
career, and by
Мариэлли
extension,
назначит
the rest of her
вся
life.
оставшаяся
She
жизнь.
had no
У нее
time for
было
this,
немало времени
so it
разбираться
was
с
only a
телом, поэтому
moment
она
that she
постояла
stood
над ним
there,
всего пару
staring
секунд.
down at the body. And then she turned and
Потом
ran.
развернулась и побежала. Чё? И все, игра окончена. Игра окончена. А, тут то есть концовки есть.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Все его коллеги
What could
пропали.
it
Что
mean?
бы это могло значить?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Давайте попробуем все правильно делать. Кажется, там.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Просто идем.
Yet there was not a single...
Подожди. И то, что ты видел, прыжок. Подожди.
person here
Мне пробел же
either.
не работает.
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
попрыгать,
Stanley
а мне
decided to
пробел
go
не
up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
А дочка?
Coming to a staircase,
идем
Stanley
наверх.
walked upstairs to his boss's
Кубе.
office.
Что порог? А, тут есть автоходьба.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of
1,
course,
2, 3,
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
А что если реально 8? 2, 8, 4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Привет! Я новенький в этом здании. Его нажмем. Блин, сейчас кнопки. Мне кажется, или кнопки выглядят как испортили. Не знаю.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Им не надо, чтобы произошли, блин.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Сейчас я хочу вот туда пойти как-то. Что мне теперь делать?
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, you're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Sold? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless, to see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment you fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Долго что-то. Долго что-то. Так и. Лейдинг. Загрузка. А все, игра окончена. Ладно, давай мы с тобой продолжим в следующий раз. Если тебе понравилась игра, ставь лайки, подписывайся на канал, оставляй свой комментарий. И всем пока. С вами был, как всегда, я, Крипер. Всем пока.